I don't like doing my own home repairs, and when I made some videos that honestly show how much I don't like it, they seem to help a lot of other guys like me. So I thought it would be good to make this new set of videos. Guys like me have a million questions for the progressive activists that we see on the news, but nobody on TV ever asks those questions. On CNN, the host probably agrees with the activists, so his questions are weak. And on Fox News, the host just tries to make them look bad. Either way, nobody's asking the questions that might actually help us get a feel for where they're coming from, so we might actually understand them a little better. It's no surprise that people who disagree over politics are so angry at each other nowadays. So right before Christmas, me and my brother, who is himself progressive, we drove around the West and did our own interviews. We drove to 22 cities and interviewed dozens of people who support progressive causes to ask those questions that are never asked. We're not trying to change their mind or make them look bad. We just want to understand where they're coming from. These folks were brave, considering what can happen nowadays if you say one wrong thing on YouTube. And we talked about a lot of really sensitive subjects. So just leave right now if these conversations might offend you. If you stay though, I think you'll hear some things you've never heard before and have a better understanding of your fellow Americans. I did. From Richland, Washington, we drove to Walla Walla, where we met Miles Hubbard, who doesn't easily fit into any of the cultural pigeonholes we tend to see in the media. His mother emigrated from Mexico, he's seen firsthand the problems caused by our opioid epidemic, and he has good things to say about his Obamacare insurance. And he's also a fiercely independent, fiercely American small businessman who supports Donald Trump.
I'm Miles Hubbard. I'm from Walla Walla, Washington. I've lived here my whole life. Out here in the middle of the wheat fields, and it's fun. It's a great place to live. But please don't come here.
Okay, so when we talk about, I know a big issue in Phoenix is immigration, illegal immigration. Is that something that affects people here in Washington?
It affects us all throughout the whole country with the gangs, and the problem is, and I can't really blame them. They come up here, and then if they don't happen to have, jobs or anything, what do? It's got to be gangs. There's nothing left. So this is all common sense.
Do you see people who work in the construction industry, which is, something that unskilled guys hanging drywall can do, and if they're here illegally, they probably can do it for less than American citizens can do. Is that something that you see affecting the area that you live in?
No, what I see affecting the area I'm living in is the drugs. The opioids. I have lots of friends, grew up, they've died in front of me, and all they got to do is get up off their ass and get to work. We don't want the jobs.
We don't want the jobs. There's jobs that we just won't take, and I think there's enough people who've shown that that's kind of true. Even if you advertise good wages, people won't go into the crops in Yuma in the summer and pick stoop labor crops.
You would have to pay these guys $45 an hour and kick them in the ass to get them to work.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have folks that are coming in from the South who are happy to work.
Happy to work.
Very industrious, far more religious than the average American.
Very efficient, good men with good families and good values.
Okay. So you're a Trump supporter. When
Yes,
you hear
I am.
Trump supporters being called racists,
Come on now.
really, how would you answer that when they call you a racist?
The media has tricked us all for the most part.
When I would argue that the concerns that you see from most Trump voters is, I think it's a legitimate concern to say, I think, my cousin who's in construction is going to have a tough time finding a job when there are so many people who are willing to work for less than him. And I think that's a perfectly legitimate argument. I don't think the argument is that I don't like him because of the color of his skin.
When is the last time you've seen a line of white folk pounding on the door for jobs?
Yeah.
I never have.
Yeah.
Where are they? They're in their mama's basement getting high.
Why do you think that is? How did we get to this point?
I think what happened after World War II, it was the baby boomer age. And everything was great. You went to college, the children, but then what happened in the 60s, 70s? A shit show. Just drugs. They thought they were kings, in my opinion. And they forgot about the next generation.
You have seen it up close, what's happening with the opioid addiction.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. What
My friends have died in front of me.
is...
I mean, I just see it every day, and I got friends that get ambulance calling every like few months.
Is this a place where jobs have left and jobs are hard to find?
We're bringing America back, and America. I mean, look at the stock market. The country is becoming invigorated again, and freedom is popular again, guys. Jobs are coming back. All we got to do is get up, knock on the door, put in our apps, get to work. And if they tell you to go to Hades at that point, at least you tried. But guess what? You probably won't even try. Get to work, boys.
Okay. A lot of people talk about income inequality and describe it as a problem. Do you think it's a problem in this country?
As far as gender?
Gender or race or just the fact that there are some people richer than other people?
I think that there is no inequality. I really don't. And if there is, it's on its way out the door. We're doing good as a country in that regard. I really believe this.
Okay, great. What about health care? You're a small businessman. Some people say it's a human right. Do you think it's something that we should do for everyone for free? Or what's your opinion of, for example, what's been happening the last 8 years or so with the Affordable Care Act?
It's helped a lot of people, but it also, and it's hard to understand, but if you read between the lines and talk to the doctors, talk to the insurers, it is designed to fail. And it's failing, guys. I'm so sorry it is. Okay, it's helped me, but I also want change.
Okay,
it's time.
How has it helped you? I mean,
I couldn't
if you
afford
don't
insurance.
mind. Okay,
And Obamacare, it helped me.
okay.
So, but now, it's failing. So let's fix it. Let's fix it, guys.
Okay. You've been able to get value out of the money you pay for Obamacare, or if you're getting it for free, it's been a value to you?
It's been a great value to me. I have to be honest, it has.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about the folks that you know? You said on your mother's side, you know a lot of people who are here from Mexico. What's it like being a Mexican of Mexican descent living in the United States?
Right now, they're scared with Trump. And, I tell them, relax. You're not going anywhere. It's just fine. These are good, hardworking people. And those are the people we love here.
Oh, you're right, yeah. You talk to anybody who owns businesses, you say, oh my goodness, you hire an American and he's good the first week, the second week he doesn't show up on Monday, and the third week, he's probably quit. Has that been your experience?
Verbatim. As Americans, we've gotten lazy, just plain lazy, and it's sad, but there is a new revolution happening in this country, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Do you still have any relatives that are still living in Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the calculus? What is the decision that someone in Mexico has to make as to whether they come to America or not?
Let me tell you a story about what my mom told me, why she came here. She had to chase the fucking dump trucks down the road for food.
Right.
And that's why Mama came here with her family when she was a kid.
Okay. Was there kind of the implicit assumption that when she came here, she would be able to stay because we just don't ever enforce the borders? Is that kind of what the deal seems like?
When you're chasing the dump trucks down the road, you're not thinking anything like that.
Okay. Agreed. It's a dire situation. But what is it that we're doing that we could do better so that they could have in Mexico their George Washington?
Yeah, and I'm very proud to be an American right now. I believe Trump, they're our closest trading partner.
Right.
And I believe with this new administration, this new direction we're going as a nation, as a country, as a people, that what I would like to see happen is we boost the trading with them. And if they need help to reinvigorate their country, and I think they are. I already think they're doing it. And I think our world is actually on the up, not the down. I really believe that.
I would like to return to the topic of your mother because she made the bold move, gotten benefits from it. What do you make of the argument that
Benefits are...
well, I mean, was it better for
well,
her?
she came here and died of cancer based on our chemicals, so...
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm very sorry about
she could have stayed in Mexico and probably still been alive.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Well, I mean, I assume that some of your relatives who've come here have had a better experience than if they had stayed.
Yeah, most do.
Okay. So my question to you is, from the point of view of an American citizen who is watching this, he's saying, I have a lot of sympathy, but if a thought experiment, if you have a life raft that holds 10 people, and you've got 40 people around that life raft, at some point, if enough people get in, is simply going to submerge the life raft, and everybody's going to die. For those folks who are still outside the U.S., who are the ones treading water, who would like to stop chasing dump trucks as your mother did, they're saying, okay, I don't have a border I can just cross. And if you allow this to happen, okay, as humanitarian as it is for us to have done this, and for whatever other reasons we didn't enforce the border for 40 years, it's simply not fair to let the folks who happen to share a border with us come here and get the benefits of being in this country without having to go through the same trips as someone from England, for example.
Mm-hmm. It's very true.
How would you respond to that?
It's hard. It is very hard. Mexicans come up here, no paperwork, get all the benefits of our health care. They're given houses, welfare, have their babies for free, all that. But that's life. And America's motto is bring your weak, bring your poor. And I'm very proud of us for that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we've reached the point at which, I would assume that there is a saturation point at which...
I think we're there.
Okay.
We're right there.
Okay.
I think the world knows it, and I think we're all going to accommodate.
Okay. Now, this may seem like a really silly example, but I remember the very first time I noticed a whole mess of people that were in a queue at Disneyland. A whole mess of people who hadn't grown up in this culture. They were all trying to buy something at a kiosk. And they did something I never saw Americans did. They were like jostling for position, and it was without regard to queuing, without regard to who was there first. It was just who could get the money into the hands and buy the little trinkets first, right? And I was shocked. I was frankly shocked. I'd never seen anything like that in the U.S. before. It made me sad. Now, some people call me a racist for doing that, for saying, well, why aren't you embracing their culture? And I said, well, jostling like survival of the fittest in order to buy a trinket at Disneyland, that's a part of the culture I really don't like. I don't think it's something we should bring in. So at some point, the people who set up that situation where your mother was in such poverty that she had to do what she did, at some point, the folks that were fine with that in Mexico are going to be here, and maybe they're going to be fine with doing the same thing here. Mm-hmm. Do you see that as being legitimate for people like me to be concerned that will change the nature of being an American?
It's very legitimate concern. Absolutely. I, hold very dear the culture of this country where we started. Since Independence Day, what our ancestors did to build this country, we have to keep those values intact by all costs. And that's the bottom line, yes.
That was Miles Hubbard in Walla Walla, Washington. I'd like to thank him for sharing such frank and real-world observations on the Mexican immigrant community, the Affordable Care Act, and the opioid epidemic. I hope you consider supporting the series by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thanks.